in marketing mix. The marketing mix, as you remember, would be the product, price, promotions, and distribution. So let's look at that, the product quality and the service. So we are serving the unsafe product, or especially when we are now in the crisis mode, COVID-19 mode. If we are promoting our hotel as COVID safe and coronavirus safe, while we actually are not following the practices or the recommendations, it means we are selling unsafe products, not properly describing, or having unfair cancellation policies, or termination policies, refunds policies would also be product quality and service issue. After sales service, sending wrong invoices, that also again is unethical and represent the poor services, so that again should be avoided. Pricing, we are either inflating our listed price or our prices, especially in the time of demand. When there is a lot of demand, we increase our prices artificially, or not honoring the price incentive that we have committed to the peoples, or adding the hidden costs like surcharges, or the taxes or service charges, which were not sold earlier, which were not informed earlier to the clients, will also be unethical. So the salespeople should be careful in adding these unethical behaviors. In distribution, usually we are using the retailers that are fly-by-night operators or bait and switch strategies. That is also again not okay. Using the unscrupulous agents, I mean, when we know that the agents are not telling the truth to the end customer, that also we should not be selling through them, or we should not be giving the inventory to those agents who are authorized to take the booking from us. That is again not ethical. And deceptive advertising or misleading product warranties, and dishonest fundraising activities in promotional. So we have to make sure that the pictures of hotel pictures that we are using in our promotions are real and are not artificially inflated. We are not using the artificial words that to describe the services, or too hype words, let's say world class services, when we know our services are not really world class. So marketing usually in order to make the messaging persuasive, people use a lot of these terminology which should not be used if they are deceptive. So how can we create an ethical work climate? So what first is with what determines a salespeople's tolerance for unethical action among employees. Why does a firm seems to promote selling behaviors that are consistent with high moral standards? So there are certain questions that we need to answer. Why some other firms see the promote pushy techniques that take advantage of source of vulnerability among customers? It all depends on the ethical work climate. So the organization climate is the way that the employee perceive the culture. So when the culture is very strong and identifiable, employees will tend to share the same perspective. So the type of code ethics is bottom up, means we have standard business norms and regulations as defined by the senior management. So that our bottom line sales emphasize. There are policies and rules how far people are trusted in to behave in a responsible way. Then there are trust and responsibilities. Then there are extent to which employees view co-workers as having high moral standard, that are called trust, and peer review. And then the bottom line pressure employees feel to prioritize increased sales. So these are the how we create an ethical behavior in the organization. So first is policy and rules which are set up by senior management. Then there are trust and responsibilities, how far we trust each other to take care of our responsibilities. Then there are peer behavior, where employees view co-worker as having a high moral standards, means we are promoting high moral standards among the employees. And the bottom line sales emphasize means pressurizing the employees to feel to prioritize increase sales profit margin. So where the hotel is putting too much pressure on close sales, profits, margins, they tend to go to unethical behaviors. If there is not much of emphasis on only on the profit but also on the long-term customer relationship and ethical behaviors, employees would tend to move towards the ethical behaviors. So ethical behavior, effective ethical environment will be created by establishing ethical policies and practices, demonstrating the ethical behavior by the top management, appointing top level ethical officer, is having an ethics hotline where or it can be managed by the director of sales and marketing, where they are able to answer any questionable behavior, any suspect or any confusion among the employees. Train continuously to the peoples on ethical contact, enforce the ethical behavior of employees, monitor that they follow their code of conduct, and take in appropriate ethical behavior into the company culture. So that is the how we establish the effectively ethical environment. Managing the ethical climate is the sales manager need to ensure the following. The salesperson are aware of rules and practices. They are rewarded and reprimanded with no favoritism or bias, and the ethical climate is promoted at all levels of the organization.